Knucklehead Comics Tuesday. It's fucking Tuesday. We got Lay in the building. We got Cap in the building. Cabs can't make it tonight, but he's here in spirit. On Lay.
My man, just chilling, brother, chilling.
What's up, Cap? How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Is that and the father goes shamefully? That's my son. And the other guy goes shamefully. Orion goes, that's my father. Choose fear and hate to run your life. Something you can't do. That was wrong with me from the beginning. I was doing it that way. I was gonna go down that path. I worried.
You thought it was Grayson?
Sorry, got hurt. It's like not him. Not him.
Crack his brain for somebody, anybody that can help, and remembers. Freeze.
The media.
Randall Savage.
Randall Savage. With his knowledge and all other shit and his capacity to learn.
Absolutely.
This is the only vegan I'll ever eat is grilled chicken wings, because that's like vegan to me. You know what I'm saying? Because the chicken wings are supposed to be fried, but you grill the chicken wings, you put it in some sauce, and give it some blue cheese.
Is vegan.
That's vegan. Like regular cow fuck milk, put it in some Honey Nut Cheerios, vegan, because Honey Nut Cheerios good for your heart. You know what I'm saying? And I steal the question from Cabs.
I got it right.
I would also like to steal. I would also like to steal. I would also like to steal.
You're too late.
Wow.
I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro. Let's go, let's go! Yeah! Let's go! Here I go, I get lit, I get hyped for this shit! Right.
Word. He be like, I got a left elbow and a right elbow. I can break your face with an any elbow. Make sure that you get elbowed in your elbow with an elbow. Got the arm ball, get the phone ball, get around with the bomb with the bomb ball.
That is gonna take you to Jersey Shore.
Oh, hello. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night. It is comic book podcast night. It's me again, just Vic. Toe is off doing some shit. He'll be back next week. Maybe. Who knows? But what's up, everybody? Tonight, we are here. I already see Hassan up in the chat. What is up? Gonna be talking about some nerd shit that I like to talk about. See if there's any news to go over. We're gonna be going over the top 10 most underused characters in the MCU. And I'm going to be talking about the smallish controversy that really shouldn't be a fucking controversy with something I mentioned last week, the Critical Role Campaign 4. I'm going to give my thoughts to it because everybody else is, giving their thoughts from the shit that I'm looking at. We talked about their system Daggerheart last week. We'll get into all that there. Look at this. So let's see here. Are you ready for Clash in Paris? I am not. The Thursday show with the wrestling guys, they jump in there and they'll talk about it. As we discussed last week, I'm kind of out of the wrestling game. I watch it, but I'm not prepared to talk about, or I don't know what the hell's going on, really. I'm stuck here in the realm, not stuck, but I'm chose to be here in the realm of comics. That's where I spend most of my time. So we start here, a little bit of news. We reported last week that there was some sort of infighting on the set of Avengers Doomsday, and it was between unnamed actors. Well, now the names that are making the rounds are, I think, the names that show actually said. It's Robert Downey and Ryan Reynolds. But those are the names that are like floating, but it's not confirmed, and it is something that has seemed to be debunked. Like the minute they came out, those names were like, nope, it's not those two guys. So take that with a grain of salt with how fast that they're denying. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it is them, and they just want to get this squashed as fast as possible. I mean, do you really blame Marvel? They can't afford for this movie to fail. They were supposed to be this week when Toe was originally only taking 1 week off. We were going to do the topic of what Marvel really has to do to get back, because I don't think, based on what I'm hearing from my people who are not like deep into the comics like I am, from what I'm hearing and from what other people are saying, there's little Marvel could do to get back, because there's no longer a care of the characters on screen. But we'll get into that hopefully next week when Toe, comes back. Let's see here. What do we got? We got news coming up. If anybody has been watching the box office, which we don't talk too much about, I mean, we do a little movie reviews here and there, and we do talk about the box office of like Marvel movies or Superman or some shit sometimes. But a weird thing happened over this weekend. I don't know if you guys heard of this K-pop Demon Hunters program or movie. It's an animated movie on Netflix. It's on my list. I haven't watched it yet, but apparently it came out in theaters to do like a sing-along over the weekend, and was the #1 movie in the week over the weekend here in America. It grossed like $19 million. And then second place was Weapons. Well, it turns out that yes, technically K-pop Demon Hunters raised $19 million. Technically, it opened higher than Weapons, but Netflix didn't want to report the earnings to the official progenitors of the fucking, the movie gross list. So there's an actual group who the movie theaters report their tickets sold to, and then that place verifies and comes out and goes, well, this is how much money a movie made on, over the weekend, on this certain day, etc., etc. News outlets get access to that. The studios get access to that, so they can figure out what their movie made on the opening weekend and budget and blah blah blah. Well, Netflix decided not to fucking report. So if you go to like anything that's reputable that uses this, I don't even know what the fuck you call it, this company that reports on and aggregates all this data. If you try to go look for anything that's officially with them, K-pop Demon Hunters are not even on the fucking spectrum. So in the history books, Weapons was the #1 movie for the third week in a row in America, because K-pop Demon Hunter Netflix did not report. So it technically did not happen, which is the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing to hear. You have the #1 movie in America, and it didn't happen. And to Hassan's point, I used to be big into wrestling back in the day. Not so much anymore. I said a little bit about it last week on why I stepped out. But in wrestling terms, K-pop Demon Hunter is Chris Jericho's first WWE title back when he beat Triple H. And Triple H was like, yo, strike it from the record books. Give me the title back. And even though we all saw him win, it's not officially recognized. And that's bananas for that shit to happen for a movie. Let's see, what else? there's been other reports about who might actually show up in Avengers Doomsday. So, like, Benedict Cumberbatch is still in the active phase of neither confirming nor denying if he's joined the cast of Avengers Doomsday. And right now, this cast is gonna be like 150,000 fucking Marvel characters. At a certain point, I don't think you can actually put into context correctly how everybody's gonna get screen time. Because somebody's gonna have to be a boom. Look, they were there for 1 second and we move on. Because I don't see how in the world you put every single person on that list in this movie with a significant amount of time to tell a cohesive story and to have everybody be on screen worth the amount of money they're paying people and what this fucking budget is gonna probably balloon to. All right. Not to mention there's also reports Alan Cummings, the gentleman who plays Nightcrawler in X2, he's back. He said that he had a bad time shooting his scenes because they never gave him ahead of time. They never gave him a real script. It was always a fake script, so nothing would be leaked. So he had to essentially read it on set. He didn't really film with anybody. He was alone on the soundstage. Everything else was like put in post, and he'll be edited in, later. So it's like he's acting to no one. Nothing around him to give him visual cues. They're giving him the script probably like an hour before he's on set for him to go over and read because, Marvel's so afraid of leaks and shit, and they back themselves into a corner that now they got to make a movie like this with everybody said they got to essentially quarantine their own fucking actors so they can make a movie without seeing each other, without spoiling each other, without accidentally saying, hey, I was in a scene with so-and-so. Because Lord forbid we know that so-and-so did a scene. It's a little bit bananas what the hell is going on there. And I honestly hope that they pull this off. Thunderbolts was good. Deadpool and Wolverine was good. Fantastic Four was good. Despite what we're going to talk about hopefully next week. The Eyes of Wakanda was good. Ironheart was decent enough. They're slowly chugging along, making good to or decent to good to great content now. And it'll be a shame for them to lose it all on one of the biggest movies that has to work. I mean, you brought back Robert Downey. You put him as Doom. You brought back the Russo brothers. This is you're sitting at the plate. You're Babe Ruth. You point the bat out to center field. Now you got to clear the fucking fence. And we'll see what the hell's going on with that. In other news that I can bring up here, the Thunderbolts director, Jake Sheffer, he is now confirmed that he has started work on Marvel Studios' X-Men reboot. So for those of you who don't know, Jake Sheffer, he was the guy who directed Thunderbolts. He has been tagged to direct at least the first outing for the rebooted X-Men movie for Marvel that should be coming, I believe, in like 2028. Because I believe all the new X-Men stuff is going to happen after the Secret Wars, and that's going to start the New Mutants phase. I believe that's what it was originally reported a few years ago. Who knows if that's still the naming convention that they're using or whatever else they're doing. But he's heading that up. He's starting to work on it now. So That's good news because he did a great job with Thunderbolts. One of the better movies that Marvel's come out with in years. And they're giving him, he's got time to put this together, to actually, nail it in and set it up the way he wants it to and the way we need it to be. Because coming off of Secret War, bringing the X-Men and mutants into the fold, that's probably the next biggest hurdle that Marvel has that they have to get right. And if you know the report from last week with Bo DeMayo saying that these guys didn't like the fact that X-Men 97 was so popular with the fans and they had nothing to do with it. You already behind the 8 ball. You already have so much to live up to. Because I'm going to compare it to X-Men 97. Because you already have a fucking Marvel, you already have an X-Men entity tied to Marvel Studios. And it cannot be worse than that. It has to be on par. But he's got time to do it. So let's see. Let's not jump any guns here. Let's give him the chance to do exactly what he needs to do. I'm checking to see if there's any other big news out here. Doesn't seem to be any other major news. So with that, this might be a little bit of a shorter stream. Who knows, right? We're winging it, people, winging it. Yeah. Little old school Macho Man. Not the best at voices, so that's what you get. That's why I stopped, right? So, bring up our first conversation here. There's more people on this list, but I'm only going to do the top 10 because they started getting into characters that I was like, who was that? I don't remember that motherfucker. So, these are the people who this list here was comprised on this website called the Top 10s, and it's people that were underutilized. And we're going to go over them. Let me give you my thoughts. If you're there in the comment section, and chime in as well. So number 1. So this is not like a list of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. They just put people on a list. So I'm going to go from 1 to 10. This is not in order of importance or how useless or how underutilized their characters were. This is just a list of people. So number 1, Pietro Maximoff, Quicksilver. I agree with this 100%. You had the actual Pietro. He had a real relationship, a convincing relationship with his sister Wanda. He had the accent. Aaron Taylor Johnson looked good as Pietro. The way they conducted his speed looked good. His chemistry with the team felt right. It was easy for him to switch from being the antagonist to the team to now joining the team. When he sacrificed himself and took all the bullets to help Hawkeye get the people off the island of Sokovia, it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel pride or anything. And I think that they could have done a whole hell of a lot more with Pietro. And it's a shame. It really is a shame that he never really got to come back. And when they brought Pietro back, they for some reason brought in the guy from Fox and then had to turn around and be like, oh no, we're joking. It's not him. He's some other dude. And ladies and gentlemen, here's everyone's favorite show. What's up, show?
What's good, man? Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, so right now we're going over the top 10 most underutilized characters in the MCU. Just started. So we're right here at number 1 with Pietro Maximoff, Quicksilver from Age of Ultron. Do you have any thoughts about him? Do you even know who that is?
No, I don't. So I can't even be funny. Well, Quicksilver, I know who that is. Isn't that? I just saw a movie with Fantastic Four and Quicksilver.
No, not the Silver Surfer.
Gosh darn it!
Quicksilver, did you see Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie?
I did. For some reason, I'm confusing Quicksilver with the silver lady. Like I can imagine like a blonde lady in silver.
Okay, forget the word silver. Do you remember in Age of Ultron, Wanda had a brother, the guy who could run really fast. That's Quicksilver.
Oops.
Any thoughts on him being underutilized?
To be honest with you, obviously he deserves to be underutilized. I didn't even know what he looked like. They got to
All right.
start introducing him more.
How about this one here? Number 2 on the list is Lady Sif. Look at that. I know you have no clue who this lady is. So Lady Sif is part of Thor's movie, the original 2. She had a great part in Loki, where she was like part of the time loop that Loki was in, and she kept fucking slapping him in the face because she's like, "Yo, I don't trust you at all." But she's essentially Thor's right-hand woman from Asgard.
Asgardian. Yeah, Asgardian.
Yeah, she definitely, her underutilization came very apparent in that bullshit ass Thor Love and Thunder. Like the way they treated her was so fucking dumb. And that did you see Thor Love and Thunder?
You guys told me not.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know if you ever listened to us, so you might have seen it on your own anyway. So in Thor Love and Thunder, they took this woman who is probably right there with Valkyrie in terms of heroicism, toughness, strength, combat ability. Like her status should really be right up there amongst Thor for Asgardian warriors. And they made her a joke where she got her arm chopped off in the battlefield. She thought she was dying to get into Valhalla. She didn't die. So now her arm is in Valhalla, but she's not. And if she dies not in battle, then she won't go to Valhalla, but her arm's in. It's the dumbest fucking thing ever.
That's just hilarious, though. I'm gonna go here, but my arm made it to Valhalla.
Yo, see, that's the thing, right? It is funny. But for that type of fucking, like maybe for Korg, that's funny. But Lady Sif is really like the right hand woman of Thor. Like Cap had Falcon, right? Iron Man has War Machine. Thor has Lady Sif. Lady Sif is supposed to be one of the top-notch fucking Asgardian characters. And it's bullshit what they fucking did to her. I'm glad that she did get redemption in that scene with Loki in the Loki TV show, because that showed her actual acting ability, and that showed the gravitas that this character can fucking have. Now, say again?
She made it on Agents of Shield too, right?
Yes. Back when it originated, yeah. Now, his characters I know you don't know. Once again, we're sticking with the world of Thor and the Warriors 3. Now, these are Thor's boys. Right? These are the guys in the first 2 movies. They were holding him down. They got obliterated by Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi does not like any of these fucking characters. You could tell. Because Hela and Thor Ragnarok obliterated these three without fucking blinking an eye. Again, you're talking about a specialized force that Thor himself put together of his people, that they would go in and handle fucking business. And Taika just was like, you know what? Fuck it. They're going to die without any fucking struggle on Hela's part. Just again, a complete waste of fucking characters that could have been built upon and could have been great and could have added shit to, like, you could have easily sat there and went, hey, we want to do an Asgardian TV show for Disney Plus, right? But we can't get Chris Hemsworth, we can't get Anthony Hopkins, and we can't get Idris Elba because they're too big to do these shows. Okay, well, cool. You got Lady Sif and the Warriors 3. You could bring them in and run a show with them, and it would be fucking amazing to have a fantasy TV show set in the Marvel universe with Norse, like, godlike characters. That would have been amazing.
Who's your favorite? Sandro?
Well, Heimdall's not part of this team, but we'll get to him, I think, later on in this list.
No, I said Sandro.
Who the fuck is that?
Sandro, Hogan, and Bullshit. I heard those are the three names.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if that you're closer to pronouncing them than I am. But Ray Stevenson, his character was my favorite. Say the names again. Let's see what you.
Sandro.
All right, so that, if I'm not mistaken, he was played by the same guy who wound up being Shazam in the DC Shazam movies, but originally was played by a dude who was in another. What show was he in? I think he was in, like, Once Upon a Time, the show that was on ABC, the live action Disney fairy tale show. So there was two different actors that played him. The other dude was, what was the other one?
Hogan.
Hogarth was played by that Asian dude. He was pretty good. I liked him. And then the last dude was played by Ray Stevens, who he played the Punisher. He played he was in Ahsoka Tano. He was Balin Skull. He's a good actor. I like him. Who's your favorite? Since now you know the names more than I do.
The charming is gonna be the charming swordsman, which is Sandro.
There you go. So you like the dude who wound up being Shazam.
Yeah, I came ready for you, bro. Don't underestimate the show.
Hey, let's go then. So number 4, you know who this is then. The Collector. As he blinks out the screen.
Oh, I blanked out my screen.
Do you know who the Collector is?
I don't, but I'll look it up as you talk.
So the Collector was played by Benicio del Toro. He's the dude in the Guardians of the Galaxy that was they went to where you saw Howard the Duck. He had like literally a collection of random people who were the last of their species. The Guardians went to him for the explanation of the Power Stone and all the Infinity Stones. And the Warrior Stone. Right? They gave him the Reality Stone that he held. Now, the Collector, he is the brother of the Beyonder. They're two of the most powerful deities in the Marvel Universe. And in the original Secret War, they picked teams against each other and picked heroes and villains to battle it out, just to see who could put together a better team. And you want to talk about underutilized? They just turned him into a fucking pawn shop owner who really did nothing. And then when Thanos came to collect the Infinity Stones he had, just like wiped him easily.
Damn. So wait a minute. He was way stronger than Thanos.
Yeah, and I misspoke. Not the Beyonder, is the Grandmaster. So he's the brother of Jeff Goldblum's character from Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor Ragnarok. So as we move on here, number 5 on this list. Did this one show? You should know this one. You tell the people all about Samuel Stearns, the leader. Yeah, that's not fair because show's working.
My bad. What I do?
No, I was saying you know all about this character. So tell the people about Samuel Stearns, the leader.
Samuel Stern, the leader, was somebody that got locked up. Got locked up as a project by President Ross.
Yes.
Okay. And he was pissed off because President Ross left him there. So his revenge was to come out and fuck around with everybody, everything. You know, I'm saying it in a show way, but it's correct. He was so pissed off at him that he came out and tried to take revenge.
He turned him into the Red Hulk.
There you go.
Hey, yo, show. Where is this guy? How come this guy doesn't show up more often?
You don't need this guy. You guys are too smart.
No,
you don't want to much. Go ahead.
You're the offset. Where I might get too far into the weeds and go way over people's heads with shit. You're the one who could come in and, you know, connect on the same level as everybody else. Well, I'm out in the ocean. You're closer to the shore, man. You're bringing everybody in. But yeah, so Samuel Stearns, way underutilized. They took him, 15 years? Almost 15, 20 years to bring him back to do something. And then when he came back, he was so easily outsmarted by Captain America, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but when Cap doesn't even know that you're behind shit, how the fuck do you get outsmarted by him? All right.
So wait a minute. He got outsmarted and Cap didn't even know it was him? Is what you're saying? Like he figured it out without having to?
Remember, Samuel Stearns was like, oh, I predicted with a high probability that you would have turned around and went to go help Isaiah Bradley, because he was in jail for attempted assassination on the president. But instead, Sam Wilson fucking kept going and went to go visit Samuel Stern in that little makeshift prison that he didn't anticipate that. And it's like, how do you get outsmarted by somebody who doesn't even know what he's going? Like, you have all the cards, you have all the knowledge. He doesn't know you. How are you outplayed?
Beyond, and you're supposed to be smart.
Because now it just seems like it was just random happenstance. Good. As we move on here, so this is another one that I know for a fact you're gonna be able to explain to the people. And you know how I know you're gonna be able to explain this to the people? Because when I saw the name, it took me a second to figure out who the fuck this was. So number 6 is The Other. And I actually want to see if you can even fathom a guess who the fuck this guy is.
The other is a servant of Thanos.
Holy shit!
Don't ask me how I know that.
Yo,
Listen, I've been listening to you motherfuckers. I got knowledge. I just don't need it because you guys are smart. Toad's not here, so I gotta bring out the other side of the brain.
sure. This is probably gonna go down as my favorite segment. Yes, the other is the dude who was helping Thanos at the end of the first Avengers. And I'm sorry, not at the end of the first Avenger. At the end of what the fuck movie was it? So it was at the start of the Avengers. He helped him in the Avengers shit. But when Thanos first showed up, and he was like, "Oh, to go against the humans is to court death," and you see Thanos turn around and smile. That dude is the other, and he died so quickly without doing nothing.
Is this the guy that used to serve in between Loki and Thanos?
Yeah,
My man.
sure. This I can go to sleep happy now.
Listen, man. You guys think I don't listen to y'all. Y'all guys are so smart that y'all make it interesting. Y'all just keep talking. Eventually, it's gonna seep in.
All right. So we're gonna get to number 7. Number seven. I know you know. Brock Rumlow, Crossbones.
Crossbow. Okay, nah. Wait.
Did you
Nah.
You saw Captain America, Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
All right. So he was what the fuck is that actor's name? I gotta look. I'm bad with the name.
Oh, is it the guy? No, wrong
Yeah,
movie.
he was the dude in
The other guy that was building.
Huh?
The other guy that was building for the creepy guy. He was building the bots. Like
No.
Mexican guy. Look like Machete.
No.
Okay.
Frank Grillo. That's his name.
Frank Grillo. Let me let you know what he did.
He played Frank Grillo. He was the. Remember when Captain America was in the elevator and he was about to fight everybody?
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the leader of that group.
When he said, well, "Let's get to what we came for."
Yeah. Then
So,
in Civil War? Yeah, in Civil War, he showed up at the beginning with the skull mask and the X, kind of looking a little bit like the Punisher. Wanda put him in the fucking that sphere and blew him up in the building. He's the guy they were fighting in that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this here is my number one most underutilized MCU character because he could have been the most badass recurring problem for any Captain America to deal with.
I just looked him up too, Cap. He looks amazing. He looked like a great adversary. Like, well, in his pictures, he's ripped, so he looked like somebody, like a bad guy. He looked awesome. It looked like they could have put him in a few movies.
Dude, they could have put him in the movies. They could have put him in the Disney Plus show. Like that could have been Sam's. That could have been the thing that instead of the Flag Smashers, you could have had Rumlow causing havoc and causing John and what do you call it? John Walker and Sam Wilson to team up to try to stop him. He could have led into the Power Broker, like really brought her out and made that character shine. There's a multitude of things you could have done with Crossbones. And instead they did nothing with him and fucking killed him quickly at the beginning of a second movie, leading to the fact that Frank Grillo doesn't even want to work with Marvel again. So now he's jumped ship over to DC.
They did a havoc on him.
All right, we got 3 more to go here. Number 8. This is your boy, Heimdall. Do you here's a question for you. Do you think they underutilized Heimdall?
I think they could have used them more, but I don't think they underutilized them. If somebody like Show could actually say his name and know who it is. So they used them enough for me to know.
Yeah, this is one I don't agree with because I think they did everything they could with him based on what his character does, and just I know it's Idris Elba, and you would have loved to see. I would have loved to see him in the battle at the end of Endgame, or in the battle in Infinity War, but they had to kill his character because you got to show how tough Thanos is. Wipe out half of fucking Asgard, right? So this is one where I'm a little iffy on including him in the list. But again, this isn't my list. This is just the list we're going off of. Now, if you know who the fuck this next one is, I am going to have to send you an edible arrangements or some shit. Do you know who's number 9 here? Baron Wolfgang von Strucker.
I ain't even gonna lie. I thought that's gonna be what's his name? Damn, I can't even be funny. Most most our son. I know you said Wolfgang.
So Baron Strucker is the guy who was leading Hydra at the beginning of Age of Ultron. The guy who literally was like telling his soldiers, "We're not gonna give up. Fight to the end." And the minute his second in command was like, "Yo, so what's our actual plan?" He's like, "I'm gonna give up," and he gave up 5 seconds into fucking what do you call it? 5 seconds into this, which was so fucking bullshit. When you got Hydra, you got one of its leaders. He's one of the precursors to Zemo. He's got regenerative powers. He's almost like Liam Neeson's character in Batman Begins, where he has the Lazarus pit. What the fuck is his name? I'm gonna look that up. Sure, you know who Liam Neeson played in Batman Begins. Tell you right now, Google save me. Ra's al Ghul. There you go. So Baron von Strucker could have been Baron von Strucker could have been like Ra's al Ghul, where he could have been. Oh, an interesting thing. This dude has been around for hundreds of years. He knows more military strategies based on different fucking armies he's witnessed over centuries and shit like that. Instead, they bring him down to a fucking joke and they make him nothing. And then on the back of that, Hydra becomes nothing. And it's weird because Hydra was something in Captain America Winter Soldier, and then they instantly became nothing. How do you go from taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. to being the biggest fucking joke on the planet? I digress. So, number 10. This is another one that I don't believe should be on this list. And when Show gets back, I would love to hear his thoughts on this. But number 10, Wong. I don't think Wong is underutilized at all. I think, if anything, he's perfectly utilized. And he became part of the fucking reason to watch She-Hulk for the few episodes he was on.
Yeah. If I know who it is, it can't be under you. He's the Sorcerer Supreme before Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
Man, that guy's been in like 3, 4 movies.
yeah.
He's been in more movies than Doctor Strange.
And on top of that, he still voices his own character whenever they animate him. And I don't know why they put him on this film. Or why they put him on this list. Because they don't do a good job of explaining why people are on this list. But who knows, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, comment either right now or whenever you watch this video. Leave who you think the most underrated MCU character is. I know Lay's gonna hate even that I bring it up. But it's gotta be without a shadow of a doubt, Taskmaster, who according to Lay wasn't even in the MCU. So I would agree. The Taskmasters that we all know was not in the MCU. And if you saw what the fuck they did in Thunderbolts, that motherfucker is never in the goddamn MCU. But we're gonna move on now to our main event topic. So last week we discussed Daggerheart, which was the Critical Role tabletop RPG that they developed that has only been around 3 months. It's only been out 3 months. It's selling out everywhere. It's massively successful here at the start. And I made the bold prediction. Not even a prediction. I just made the statement that they were doing a live show, or they did a live show at Gamescom, and they switched their cast who were playing D&D, all their characters, over to Daggerheart. Matter of fact, before I jumped on the stream, I was watching a video of how they made the transition from Dungeons and Dragons to Daggerheart. And I was saying that that's going to be the barometer, because if everybody likes that, then Campaign 4 is probably going to be Daggerheart. Well, it turns out that they didn't even show the world yet that live show, because that live show comes out this Thursday for anybody who wasn't there, obviously. But they made their Campaign 4 announcement, and the system they're going to run is Dungeons and Dragons. And they're going to do the 2024 version of Dungeons and Dragons. Now, as to why they picked that, we'll get into that in a second. But what they're doing is they have Dungeons and Dragons, the new rule set, as the game they're running. They have a brand new DM who is, let me clarify, they have a brand new full-time DM for this campaign, Brendan Lee Mulligan. He's somebody who's DM'd miniseries for them before in the past. He has his own show on another network called Dropout, his Dimension 20, which he DMs a whole bunch of different shit. Dimension 20 just took over, and I don't know why I'm pointing. Like there's shit here that I can point to that you guys can see. But Dimension 20 just took over Madison Square Garden some point last year. A massively successful show that they had. So he's going to be running this game. All of the original cast members are coming back, but they're adding 5 new cast members. Now, I would go and say these names, but I know for the people watching here and the millions watching around the world, you guys don't know who these people are. So instead of me saying names like Brendan Lee Mulligan, I'm going to spare listing all 13 people. But that's the main crux here, is that they kept the original 8 who played, and they're adding 5 more players to this table. And what they're doing is something called the West March style of play, which essentially means they're going to break down into smaller groups, and they're going to be 3 groups running incongruent with each other. So you got the soldiers, which is the more battle heavy, combat heavy team. The seekers, which are the wizards, the magic users. And then you got their rogue and their clandestine group that is coming out, and that's the third group. Let me see if I can get the actual wording for that last group. Schemers. So you got the soldiers, the seekers, and the schemers. That's the base groups that you have, the 3 groups. And people have surmised that, it's going to be 1 week with the soldiers, 1 week with the schemers, 1 week with the seers, and then that 4th week they normally take off. So it's, we just go back and forth in a rotation like that. But the way that they've described this West March style is essentially how books and other media have portrayed the fantasy genre. So I liken it to Game of Thrones. So if anybody here has ever watched Game of Thrones, this week, this next 2 episodes, we're watching what Daenerys Targaryen's doing. Then next week, we get to see what Jon Snow's doing up at the wall. Then next week, we see what the Lannisters are doing, maybe for 2 or 3 episodes, because they have a little mini arc. And then the weeks after that, everybody's got to come together because they got the Red Wedding, where this event affects all characters. And we're going to bounce back and forth and see, hey, maybe the Seekers did something that has an effect on the soldier group. But maybe the soldiers aren't a part of the story that it hasn't caught up in time to where the Seekers are done. So we'll watch them for a while and then eventually be like, oh shit, that's the ramifications for what the Seekers did. Which would be a cool fucking thing. Plus, I don't think it's going to be as simple as this group, that group, and the other group solely remaining the same. I think it's going to be a mix of who, because logistically, they're all actual working voice actors in different animes and video games. And it's going to be, and plus the original cast is actually running the company of Critical Role the day-to-day. So more likely it's going to be a hodgepodge of who's available on what day and which storylines blend into each other enough that we can go, hey, we don't have this guy this week, but you're here and your character knows X, Y, and Z. So you could show up to tie in X, Y, and Z to what this group was doing so that when he comes back and you got to go, he can jump into a situation that still flows and whatever they were doing is still tied to one of the other groups and the overarching plot, but not necessarily hooked into one single driving narrative. And I think that's more likely how they're going to incorporate this West March style. One other thing that they had mentioned was, so normally in the D&D campaign, there's many villains and shit that you fight, but there's one big bad. That's what they call them. There's one overarching villain who's had his been revealed to have his hand in all the fucking cookie jars throughout the entire season, setting up breadcrumbs everywhere the team goes. And then at the end, you hopefully get powerful enough to go one-on-one or one group to one guy and beat the shit out of the man who's pulling the fucking strings everywhere. Well, this time, because they're doing the West March style and because they have 13 players and because this is a brand new world, with brand new lore that's not set into anything they've ever done before. The new DM, Brendan Lee Mulligan, said that he is creating a bunch of different bad guys, and he's going to leave it up to the players and the natural choices of what they make and the dice rolls to determine who they think the most dangerous of these bad guys are. So they're going to essentially try to root out who they think the big bad is and who's the most problematic and who they should take out and give priority to. So we could very well see somebody who the fans are like, yo, this wizard needs to fucking go. He's the big bad. And then through the players' actions and the players' eyes, we realize, they are not going after the guy we want because the guy that they're looking at is actually the bigger threat. And as much as we like to see Wizard A get his ass kicked, it actually does make more sense to go after Wizard B because he's the bigger threat to everything. Which I think is cool because how often, it's not often in it's not often in a D&D campaign that you get to be witness to a villain who you're like, oh, I wish somebody would kick his ass, but we can't deal with him right now. We got to go fucking deal with somebody else. And I'm pretty sure if you watch Game of Thrones, well, what was the kid's name? Joffrey, I think the prince was. I know everybody was happy. I know Toad was happy when that kid took the poison and the character bit the end there. I guarantee you, if you go back and watch, Joffrey was the problem. But there's probably 2 or 3 other guys also that you were like, shit, like I want to get his ass. And then when they pointed that camera at Joffrey, like, oh no, Joffrey's the bigger problem. Let's handle him first and deal with this other motherfucker later. So that's kind of the vibe I think that they're going with. And I think what they're hoping to reach for, I'm hoping that this is a massively successful season. Because so far, I think if you look at their overall numbers, I think their second campaign is still their most lucrative campaign. But the third campaign was still top notch. And I hope that this new style, this new campaign with the new world, the new characters, new players, gets to be something fucking tremendous. And well worth the tremendous amount of effort that they're going to have to put into this. So, now there's a little bit of controversy, which I think is manufactured controversy, to be honest. Because when you get into the reasons why they're doing certain shit, and every video I've seen so far, except for maybe one, and again, I'm not going to name names or anything because I'm not here saying that their opinions are wrong. Because it's their opinions. That's how they feel. Right? You're entitled to feel however you want when something that you are interested in does something. I just think that the little bit of outrage is completely unfucking necessary because most of the time the people start off and go, I can't believe this. And then in their explanation of why they can't believe it, they actually proven why this was actually the better fucking decision. It's mind-boggling. But the many controversies that, like I said, Critical Role has made Daggerheart. It's their TTRPG. We talked about it last week, me and Show. And everybody, including myself, as I said at the top of this, that I thought that their 4th campaign was going to be Daggerheart. And they chose to stick with D&D. Now, when you realize that they have 13 fucking players at the table, they're going to have 3 separate groups, 3 separate campaigns running at incongruency. You have 5 new players at the table who have not been here to do long-term runs, who have not been here for the creation and the play testing of Daggerheart. You got a brand new DM who, again, has not been there for the duration and the creation of Daggerheart. It doesn't make sense to have your brand new DM and 5 new players join 8 other players who haven't had that much experience with this new game, all learn a brand new system in real time. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, they did a 8-episode miniseries called Age of Umbra in which they used Daggerheart. And there were times where Matthew Mercer, who's run the campaign, he's their normal DM, he helped make this game Daggerheart. Even he had to look in the book and come up with shit and go, fuck, I can't find it in the book, so I'm going to make up a ruling right now. Because the game is new. And if you follow tabletop RPGs, you know that Daggerheart, or D&D, first edition was popular. Second edition kind of faltered a little. Third edition was tremendously successful. Third edition started the big wave back in the original days of getting people to play Dungeons and Dragons. Fourth edition kind of shit the bed. It was a big ass fucking uproar with fourth edition. Fifth edition came out, and fifth edition is the one that cemented Dungeons and Dragons as the number one, hands down, top role-playing game in the world, because fifth edition is probably one of the best. Now, old school heads think it's too easy, but that's what makes fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons great, is if you want to make it complicated and you have a good DM running the game, you can make it whatever you want. But if you have new players to onboard, it's a simple enough system to show them how to play instantly. And then we fucking jump in and we play. Go back and watch our first D&D shit that we did at Ghost of the Salt Mines. The first camp, the one shot we did with Show and with Toe in Show's house. That's the first time they played that fucking game. And we were able to jump in without having anything, like any major rules violations or any fucking thing happen, because it's just how good the system is. Pathfinder was a decent enough system. Then Pathfinder 2 came out, and that took off. And Pathfinder 2 is literally the second best selling TTRPG on the market right now. We got here, we got Skyrim. Skyrim's a video game, Leon. So we're talking about the like tabletop role-playing games here. But the point of what I'm trying to say is Daggerheart is just 3 months old. Right? Matthew Mercer himself, one of the guys again who made it, has said that it is not ready for that type of showcase yet. Because now in D&D, you want to be, what do you call it? Warlock is a big class. It's a favorite class for a lot of people. And a warlock is essentially you made a deal with some type of entity, and that entity is giving you powers that you get to then use. Well, Daggerheart doesn't have that. So the limited number of classes that are available at this moment does not suit 13 players sitting at a table. So again, it wouldn't make sense to do Daggerheart. But then you get the question, okay, but you have the guys who made it. They could sit there and they can make these classes. You want to be a warlock? They can make the warlock class. You want to have this type of spell? They can make this spell. Okay, here's the issue that you run into. You make this, so they have something called the Void, where they are making the Warlock class. They are making, I think, the Fighter class and like a Witch class or some shit, or Werewolf class. And they have it out there for playtesting. And again, I don't know why I'm gesturing so big. Don't mind me. I talk with my hands apparently. But they have systems in place where they are playtesting this. You're going to tell me that you want in real time the creators of a game that is 3 months old, that took over a year to get this balanced in what they did put out, to now rebalance a brand new class, maybe more than one, right now, so that somebody can do it for the next 2 years or however long this campaign is. Now, conversely, the top 2 people who worked for Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast, Chris Perkins, and I keep forgetting the other guy, right? But those are the guys who made 5e and who made 5e popular. They now work for Critical Role. So if Critical Role does Dungeons and Dragons and they go, hey, not only did they make 5e, they made Dungeons and Dragons 2024. They made the new rule set. So if you go, hey, I got a new idea, a new homebrew for this, these guys don't have to come up with how it balances in the game, because the game's already in this free set where it is super easy to balance shit, where they could just turn around and go, boom, you're done. Here you go. This is how it worked. This is how it would roll. Because that's the E5 system is already easy it's already built in to expand, to make lore, to do a whole bunch of shit without having to play test. Just go on any Kickstarter and look up E5 content, or go to any place on the internet and look up E5 supplements for Dungeons and Dragons that have nothing to do with Wizards of the Coast. You got Roethlisberger, you got Cobalt Press, you got what was the other? Ravensburger, which I said. There's a whole bunch of other names that they all pick ridiculous names. But if you look at their content, none of it has to be play tested and balanced. It's already plug and play, where you're just like, yo, I got an idea. This is how it work out in the system. Boom. And you play it. So you have the 2 guys who made the last system that was vastly popular, and this new system that they're playing. It makes all the sense in the world to stick with the game that your new DM has ran for his entire life and has done West March style campaigns before in this game system. You got 5 new players that have only played, as far as I know, on camera, have only played Dungeons and Dragons. So they're most familiar with this system. You have something right here, and I don't know if we'll get demonetized for this, but I'm not trying to sell shit. But you got D&D Beyond. There's all my characters right there, which is already a system that's in place that works perfectly for you to make a character in 2 seconds. And you got everything you need right there. Like, the tool system is already in place. Is there a tool system with Daggerheart? Yes, there is. But each individual player would then have to go in and pay for all the fucking shit that is necessary for that website to then have those options available, which doesn't make any sense again, right? So the controversy. So I say all this because the controversy is a bunch of people are like, oh, why are they not playing Daggerheart? They're still playing Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I just told you why it makes perfect fucking sense. I think people were expecting that you made a game. Why would you not play it? But the thing is that they're still Critical Role is still gonna do Daggerheart content. They're not just gonna stick with, hey, we're only doing campaign 4 and that's it. They have other things coming down the pipe. They have other fucking YouTube channels that are doing actual plays of Daggerheart. So Daggerheart is out there, right? It's not that, what do you call it? It doesn't need to reach, extraordinary heights and replace tabletop games and all this shit. All it needs to do right now is to come out. It's came out strong, maintain momentum, use these new hires of Chris Perkins and the other guy to now bolster up all the supplemental things that come in, new campaign frames, new campaign settings, new campaign books, new classes that'll come out, and get the train running along. And maybe by version 2, we see Critical Role switch over to nothing but Daggerheart. Or maybe by version 3, we see Daggerheart climb up, and now it is just as popular as D&D and or Pathfinder. Right? So now one of the other things was, Critical Role is getting paid by WotC, Wizards of the Coast, to play Dungeons and Dragons. Well, okay. So what? They're getting... Picture this. You're mad that they went from a Creative Commons in which they had to literally subtract themselves, divest themselves from any IP that was attached directly to Dungeons and Dragons. Their first campaign, they fought Vecna, the same guy who was in Stranger Things, the same villain in Stranger Things in that last season. Critical Role fought him, and the ending of their campaign 1. But now they had to take him out, his name out, because if you use Vecna, you have to pay Wizards of the Coast. All their gods that they had, right? They were original D&D gods, right? They're the under the creative control of WotC. So they had to go through this whole campaign of removing all the names, and they literally just killed all their gods in their campaign. So they moved everything they could away from Dungeons and Dragons, right? So now Wizards of the Coast, right now, they're fucking up big, right? I get it. The fans don't like Wizards of the Coast because they're not handling this new transition into this new version of D&D very well. They started a video tabletop site that they instantly fucking killed. They fired 90% of the people who were running it because it wasn't being monopolized or monetized like a fucking video game would be, when that's not the point of a video, of a video tabletop, virtual tabletop. Because they want it to be that, if your character gets new armor, well, you pay $7 and now your character can have that armor on. Motherfucker, this is all imagination. If I say he's got gold armor, he's got gold armor. It doesn't matter what the mini looks like. You can look however, you can use whatever you want for a mini. Or I can go to another place, do it cheaper, and instead of paying Wizards of the Coast money, I could go to somewhere like Hero Forge and build 3 different virtual minis for myself. And anytime I switch to new armor, bang, I got the new shit that I already pre-made because I knew I might get this armor down the line. And I give Wizards of the Coast no money whatsoever. See, that's the thing people misunderstand or they forget. You could play this game 100% for free. You don't have to give Wizards of the Coast your money. The game itself is not the problem. It's the corporation behind it. And me being somebody who had supported WWE in the past, I can't sit here and say, hey, Vince McMahon did all these fucked up things. So I'm not going to support the wrestlers anymore. When I've been watching wrestling, I mean, I've stopped watching wrestling as we talked about last week and now, but before I've been watching wrestling since I was, since I was a kid. The wrestlers have not done anything wrong. So, I can't sit there and be like, well, I'm out because Wizard of the Coast is bad. The game is still good. The game is still viable. And to the point of them getting paid. So now get this. You're mad because they went from I have to pay Wizards of the Coast to put out my adventure book that I did. Right? To use their creative licensing, to use their characters and their IP and their intellectual property. And you're mad that they switched it out to, oh, no. Now Wizards of the Coast has to pay me. You want me to play D&D? All right, you pay us then. And we'll play. Not to mention, they have Chris Perkins. They have this other dude. Guys who made shit for D&D. Wizards of the Coast is so dumb that they kind of got rid of, or they got rid of and or let go the people who make the content for their game. The campaign settings, the campaign books, the spells, all that shit. And now they're reaching out for third-party people to make content so that they can put on their platforms. They can put on D&D Beyond, which I just showed you. Which means what? Which means anytime Critical Role does something, if Wizards of the Coast wants to have that incorporated in their platform, well, they got to pay Critical Role money. And then they get to use it. And you know why that happened? Because we, the fans, the people, when the OGL license crisis happened 2 years ago, we stood up and we got them to reverse their whole fucking thing on the creative license that they had and put it back to where it is now, to where now, if you make content, all you have to do is put a little seal and go, hey, Wizards of the Coast. And that's it. You don't have to pay them shit to make content for E5. So I can make content right now, put it up, and as long as it's not on a D&D official website, a WotC website, I just have to note them, to cite them, and be like, oh, Wizards of the Coast. And then I get to make all my money of it, and I don't got to pay shit back to them. And that's what Critical Role's doing. And now, if D&D wants to use it, they got to come crawling to them. So again, I don't see how this is a bad thing. I don't see how having a channel that runs multiple game systems is a bad thing, where you're going to get to see a game system that you're already familiar with, because they've been using Dungeons & Dragons since the beginning. Then you get to see added on content of Daggerheart. So you get to see Daggerheart grow into a system that can one day, either in campaign 5 or maybe campaign 6, replace Dungeons & Dragons from what they run. And instead of being shoehorned in too early, sports is normally on Wednesdays. I don't know if anybody's going to jump in tomorrow, but for a sports analogy, right now, Critical Role has drafted a quarterback. We don't know if that quarterback is ready to go week 1. But we do have a pretty good fucking starting quarterback right now that Daggerheart can sit behind and learn from. And then when it's time for our rookie QB to take over the reins, he would be 100% ready, because he would have learned the system. He would have learned the NFL sitting behind a great quarterback like it used to be. Nowadays, everybody wants to pick a fucking quarterback and just throw him out there right at the beginning. Excuse me, and let him learn on the fly. How many times have we seen that work out? Danny Dimes, did it work out with him? Nope. Any fucking QB that the Jets have picked in the last fucking 10 years, did it work out? Nope. It works out very rarely that you get somebody who's ready to go from the draft to the field week 1. So I honestly don't get it. Again, it's not like they chose D&D and Daggerheart is never to be seen again. They're doing their own content with it. They're gonna do more shit with the Age of Umbra. They're gonna do more shit with other campaign frames. You got other YouTube channels that they've allowed to sit there and go, hey, you guys gain traction with this. You guys are a smaller setup. Show that other people besides us can run this game and have fun and let the game grow naturally. And again, I get everybody's opinion. You have, this is not an attack on anybody because they felt some type of way. This is an overall attack on the notion that something doesn't feel right if an entity doesn't do what I thought they should do. Right? That's what I'm really getting at. It's the reason why it's the reason why I say I'm a fan of something, but I'm not in the fandom of something. I'm a big fan of Critical Role. I'm not in the fandom of Critical Role. I am not a critter. Because I don't personally think that just because I watch means I have ownership of. It's the same thing with wrestlers. When wrestlers come out and, they do the heel thing and they're like, yo, I don't do this shit for the fans. I don't care if you boo me and blah, blah, blah. I don't expect you to have wrestled because I'm sitting in the stands and I wanted you to, at the age of 19, to join the wrestling school and show up and like I'm smart enough to know I'm a fan of this art. You are an artist in here. If what you do captivates me, I will root for you to succeed. But what happens to you should not be dictated to you by what the fuck I want. Because at the end of the day, Critical Role was started because Matt Mercer made a home game for his friends because he loves this game. Matter of fact, I'm going to even tell you this. In the original home game, they were playing Pathfinder. They weren't even playing Dungeons & Dragons. They were playing Pathfinder. And somebody saw them. One of their other friends who was doing Geeks and Sundry, I think at the time, was Felicia Day, I think her name was, saw them and was like, hey, why don't you guys stream this on our channel? And they turn around and had the foresight and go, well, Pathfinder is a weird game to do a live play of. Right? Is it a good game? It is. I ran the game before. I had Pathfinder E2 sitting in my room right now. I can run a game if we ever want one day. But you don't see too many Pathfinder live plays out there because they had the foresight to know that D&D just makes a better live play show. It's a lot easier to follow if you're watching it. So even back then, they ditched the system they were using for a system that made more sense. But the point of what I was trying to make is we should never, ever claim some sort of ownership or feel some sort of way for something that was one dude who has made a story so that he could give his friends an experience in this medium that they won't get anywhere else. And we just so happen to be able to watch them. And it's like the It's like the thing. So in October, I'm going to go see them live in Radio City Music Hall. And it is in their second campaign, two characters formed a relationship. And in another live show, one that the male character proposed to the female character. So I'm going to their wedding, the wedding of the two characters, right? And when it first came out, everybody was a little upset because they thought a separate character, a third character, would have been a better fit for the female character to start a relationship with, right? But here's the fucking thing: the two people that are the two players that have their characters will be, having a marriage, a wedding on October 7th. They're married to each other in real life. It's a real life husband and wife players. And there's a whole backstory about how the husband, the guy, didn't like romance, and then he switched and actually romanced his wife's character without anybody knowing, surprised everybody, and there's like an actual built-in love story, and it's a whole thing between them. Why would anybody sit there and think that it's all right? Well, again, you have your own feelings, right? But just the notion of ownership, that you could be like, she shouldn't be with him, she should be with the other guy. The fuck you mean? Like, we're watching something that's unfolding naturally behind the scenes, that's greater than, that has more meaning than something else that would have been just manufactured at the table. Because you know what, fuck it, I make a decision, let's do this, you agreed, then let's make this up as we go along. Like, it's bananas to me that I'm trying to parse this out, because it's one thing, right? Let's bring it up to what everybody here is used to, wrestling, right? It's one thing for me to be like, yo, I'm a fan of Finn Balor. Should he have gotten another world championship? Probably. All right. Am I resigned to the fact that he's probably never going to get another world championship? Yeah. Is he still a good wrestler? Am I still going to watch him? Yeah. Right? That's the way I look at it. Am I upset that he's never going to fully get a chance to be the world champ? Yeah. Am I going to fucking turn around and go, yo, fuck the WWE because Finn Balor's never going to get a title? Is the reason I stopped watching because he's never going to get a world championship? No. Again, these entities, sports teams, TV shows, wrestling companies, tabletop role playing, live plays, they're acting and they're running themselves how they want to run themselves. And we get the privilege to watch. Same with Marvel. This is why I tell people, if you really, instead of sitting here and really sitting there going, yo, Marvel sucks, I hate Marvel, and getting on here and blah, 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 and talking all this bullshit in a vitriolic way, not us coming out here and going, yo, maybe they could have done something better with the story. Maybe they could have done something this. I really hope the next one's good. I really hope they should, what do they got to do to pivot? That's one thing. But to come out and you hear all these other people who are just like, yo, Marvel is dead. They're too far gone. All right, well then stop watching. The only way to truly affect something is to stop giving that thing what it wants. You really think the WWE is that bad? Or AEW is that bad? Do what I did. I stopped watching. I don't fucking watch. We used to go to the AEW show at Arthur Ashe Stadium every year when it first came out. Show was there with us last time. The last time we were there, we talked about it a week ago. I don't go anymore. I don't go to WWE live events. I stopped watching. Why? Because again, I don't have ownership in there. If they're doing something that I'm not jiving with, well, then I just fucking walk away. But again, that's just me. Everybody can have their opinion on it, but fandom is a crazy fucking thing that I'll never understand. So, do you have any thoughts on anything that I just said?
It's a miracle because usually I don't, but today I do. You fucked up. Is that game ready to play? Like, are we ready to run it? Why don't we run it next week? What's up? Let's run a one shot.
Which game?
The
Daggerheart?
new Daggerheart, yeah.
So, Daggerheart is sold out everywhere. So I cannot get the game system. If I could buy it and have it here tomorrow, then yeah, we could have played next week. But it's sold out everywhere. I can't get it.
See, I didn't know it was a hot commodity like that. I thought it was an inside, like, inside information. Nobody ever even knew about the game.
No, you want to know inside information that nobody knew about? I supported this role playing game called Tales of the Valiant. I can't find any fucking body who's ever played this goddamn game. And I should have really not went that way. I should have went with Daggerheart, but I didn't know at the time what system they were running or what they were doing with it. So I didn't want to back something I didn't know about. And I knew what Tales of the Valiant would be. But I mean, that's a game we could fucking run maybe in 2 weeks when, because I got the PDF. So if anybody knows, it's a lot harder to figure out what the fuck anything is in a PDF than when you have a physical book in your hand. But that's a me problem. That's not a them problem. But nobody's fucking playing that game, so I don't know what to do with that game. Any other comments, Joe? Any comments on fandom? Do you proclaim yourself to be in fandom, whether it be wrestling, sports, TV show, or anything?
Yes, actually, I am a Yankees fanatic. I am a Yankees fan. Yeah, I am.
So then, how do you feel about my claim here that I don't understand the sense of ownership that a fanatic believes they have in regards of trying to tell the team what they should do, how they should do things, and blah blah blah.
You know what's crazy? I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree that we do have some kind of crazy fandom. Because I just went to Yankee Stadium last week. Well, last Wednesday I think it was. No, actually it was this Sunday. And when I walk in there, the first thing that pops into my head is, this is my fucking house. Like, I lived around here this whole time. This is my place. This is my stadium. And I'm like, who the hell am I to say this is my stadium? So I understand where you're coming from. You feel like this is your, like, you have the right to to say what I need for the Yankees, which is crazy. But at the same time, we do pay you, so
Say again?
it's crazy. But at the same time, we do pay you, so we are kind of like your boss.
You first off, you don't pay the Yankees.
Shit, I did on Sunday. They had hot dogs, tickets. I paid somebody at least.
You pay George Steinbrenner or whichever Steinbrenner is running it now.
How?
All that shit goes to him, and then he decides what to do with his money.
True.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, this is one of the shorter run times here for the comic book podcast. I would like to I would honestly like to thank Show. His knowledge today has far surpassed my belief of what he has. I am 100% proud of Show today. And tell everybody to tune in just to see show up and show out today. This was a great episode as he runs off. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like last week. Check the socials. Maybe there'll be somebody for this Thursday. Maybe there'll be somebody for tomorrow's sports podcast. We don't know. Show's in hiatus. He's playing a real life Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Right? We don't know where he is. Kenny said he was on a plane somewhere. Keep track of all social media. Let's see what pops off this week. Next week, I hope everything will be back to normal with Show coming in for the Monday watch along, for the comic book podcast, for the sports, for the wrestling, for the Toe in the Show with Ray and Gigi show. But on that note, this right here. He has been Show. I have been Vic. This has been the Knucklehead Comic Book Podcast. Tune in next week. Let's see where the hell this crazy life of ours takes us. Peace out. Good night. God bless.
Don't think I didn't hear my